Hey, hey, hey. So there was this woman, her at is Bring It Brat on the Tonight's Conversation show, where she sat down and basically her argument was that social media is bringing division between black men and black women. Now, my question to you guys is, do you guys agree with her? And let me just explain her analysis real quick to you guys. She was just saying that basically on social media, we get to internalize in other people's trauma. When somebody tells a story time, we get to empathize and with them. So now we start to feel as though that trauma belongs to us. So if you she her one of her examples was like, if you've never been cheated on and you're watching stories of women who are cheated on and you find yourself on cheater talk, let's just say that, like, let me just use that word in there. She didn't use that word, but I'm going to use that word. Let's say you find yourself on cheaters talk where it's always just stories about men cheating, then you may internalize that pain, and then now all of a sudden you are feeling as though there's nothing but cheaters around. And she was just saying that we need to learn how to detach from social media and stuff like that, because what's social media is social media, and what's the real world is the real world. Now, do I agree with her? Absolutely. I do feel as though black women and black men are being pit against each other for various reasons on social media. I feel like, for one, we take social media way too seriously. That's the first reason. The very, very first reason, we take social media too seriously. Social media should not be taken as seriously as it is taken. We should not take it as personal as we do take it. Social media is not, number two, a safe space for us to unload our baggage, but we do it anyway, me included. And trust me, I will probably unload some more baggage on social media um, throughout the course of my life. So this is not to say that I'm going to stop doing it, but I'm just saying it's not a safe space for us to unload our baggage. Maybe to tell something like in a cutesy kind of way, that could be done, but to unload your baggage when something is just happening and something is so fresh and you're crying and you're pouring out your heart, I feel like you need a therapist. But I feel like what happens in the black community is that we don't really have safe spaces, whether it's in our friendship, our homes, or even through a therapist. We don't seek out therapy. So because we don't have that safe space, we then go to where we feel like we can find a community and express it to the world and hope that we can find someone. So there are its pros and cons. Number three, people who have been hurt and have gone through really, really traumatic stuff, they tend to garner a lot of attention because I feel like trauma sells. And um, also shock value, right? When you say the most outlandish things, people want to hear it. So when you do have these men sitting up on these podcasts and they're like, oh, women need to find out what they bring to the table. Women need to do this. Women need to do that. Women. Because men aren't normally hearing these things, they feel like, oh wow, let me listen in, and here's a different opinion, and they start to feed into that, right, into that shock value, and they start to listen to it, and it starts to become a whole narrative. Before you know it, it becomes a lifestyle. And then you have women trying to combat that, saying, no, that's not true, that's not true. And I feel like that's where a lot of the the battle between black women and black men have started. Now, I feel like, as it relates to the pitting against black women against black men, I do feel like, in order for it to not happen as much as we see it on social media, we need to allow people, and we need to check people sometimes and say, hey, this is your story. That does not have to be mine, right? And that's what she said. That's what Bring It Brat said. Like, this is your story. It's not my story. I don't have to internalize it. So it's like, your story time. Not because it happens to you mean like it's gonna happen to me. Sometimes we get to talk in these story times, and then we feel like, oh, all your friends are gonna be this, or your friends, these girls are gonna be that, or blah blah blah. But no, your friend was a bad friend. Not because your friend is a bad friend means that my friend is gonna be a bad friend.